Hey B, I see here we have probably three of the most widely used residential and small diameter UV setups. You can bring me up to speed on what the difference is between these three units.
Yeah, for sure, Derek. That's a lot of that's the reason why we wanted to do this video for you guys. Yeah, so we're getting a ton of questions out there about what the difference is between the Magnavity system and the Bluelight system, and then also Bluelight to Speedylight. Even though we don't sell the Bluelight and the Hammerhead, we wanted to show you guys the difference in those units and the key differences of what capability you're going to be able to do when you're in a residential setting or an industrial commercial building.
Yeah, I hear a lot about all three systems, so it'd be interesting to find out what the differences are between the two and what one can do that another can't, if anything, and then how also they can be used together on things between different materials and stuff like that. Be interesting to learn.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's exactly what we want to do, man. We want to tell guys the straight up true facts about each one of these pieces of equipment, what material you can use, what material you cannot use with these pieces of equipment, what size diameter pipe you can line, and what bends and twists when you get into that small diameter stuff. Want to make sure that that information gets out there to people in the right way.
Okay. I hear a lot about different size light heads, and I'm assuming that the bigger the light head, the bigger the pipe, I would assume. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
for sure.
So
Absolutely.
if that is, what can we see when we see the light heads for these three pieces of equipment starting out? So say I'm in a residential market and I'm going to do mainly 4 and 6, might occasionally do a 3, and my shots are going to be house to street, or
Yeah.
maybe from inside the house to the street, and it's going to be that 80 or 100-foot shot that's going to get me out either into the right of way or to the city main or whatever that is. How do these three pieces of equipment come together on that? Like does one head give me the ability to do that, or does
Yeah.
each one of these have to have a separate piece for each separate size, or how does that work?
That's a really good question. So we're looking at the Speedylight right now. You got your hand on it, so you can see that the unit is larger than the other units. It is a little bit heavier duty, and these are kind of opinion type of situations. But and your question was geared towards that residential setting, 3 inch and 4 inch and 6 inch. And you've been in there with me in those super small bathrooms where we're shooting from a toilet arm or something like that. So the first glance of this unit, I feel like I'm gonna have to set it outside, right?
Okay.
And I'm gonna have to bring in the cable into the building and get it into our drum, hook up our head and our pullback mechanism. And then that question for the head, you got one right behind you if you want to grab it there. So this head, and this is by the spec sheets. They said this will make it through a 3 inch 45.
Okay.
And you asked the right question too. So larger the head, quicker it's going to cure,
Okay.
right? And then the cable behind you there, if you'll take a look at that. So looks like maybe a 3/4 inch PEX, maybe in between, maybe almost like a 5/8 and 7/8, or yeah, something like that. So larger cable. It worries me just a little bit. If you were to say around a 3 inch 45, I'm sure it would make it for sure. But maybe a 4 inch 90 might get a little bit worried. So but very, very good unit. Does cure at a very fast pace. We can put up those specs as well. One awesome thing you can see on the camera here, very clear picture.
That's a really good picture.
Yeah.
And that camera head is going to be mounted right here in the front, so we'll be able to see as we're curing
Yeah.
what we're doing. So we know once we know the light head is past what we want it to cure, we were already seeing it, knowing that it's good.
Correct.
So that gets a big advantage. And then when you say the bigger light head just means more lights. I'm assuming
Yeah.
just more light to penetrate the liner itself. Is that all that really the difference is?
Yeah. So a bigger light head is going to be more lights. Yeah. So when you're getting into larger diameter, 8 inch and above, you can imagine how much diameter is inside of that pipe. You want to make sure that you're getting all of that light to
Okay.
cure that UV resin, and then also the liner itself.
So if we were going to take this machine, because with a little bit bigger, we might be able to use this to do some more like industrial type work. So if we had a
For sure.
real long 8 inch or maybe a straight 6, it might be beneficial to run a bigger head because it would speed us up. Would that
Absolutely.
be so? We could still do what we need to do up to a certain size with this, but if we could fit the bigger head, it literally just speeds a cure up.
Absolutely, yeah. You can imagine the jobs that we've done in the past, man, where it would have came in super handy. Where we were, yeah, where we spent 20 hours on a job, at hospitals or food manufacturing plants and all that kind of stuff. But nevertheless, it would have came in super handy instead of trying to cure with water.
Okay.
And stepping up to one of these heads, and all of these companies rent these larger heads. If you've bought a piece of one of these equipment, they rent the larger heads and that kind of stuff, which is awesome.
Okay.
So
So
yeah,
if I was a residential guy
yep,
and ended up getting a larger commercial job, but I knew I was only going to do one, I could just rent the head instead of
yep,
having to buy it to get through that job because I already
exactly,
had the equipment.
exactly,
Okay.
absolutely,
Okay. Now, if we did have to set this unit outside of either a room maybe, or even outside of the house because of its size, it's not an issue curing though, right? Because
yeah,
the driver still goes on our drum in the house.
correct,
So as long as we can just get this cord to it,
yep.
this will still pull it back the way it's supposed to and everything's good to go.
Absolutely. One thing to keep in mind there is this unit seems like it has a huge cable as far as pushing out many, many feet. I'm not sure exactly what the footage is on this particular unit, but we're going to look and dive into that together here today. We'll say if it's 185 feet, we have to push that cable out through our liner 185 feet. Yeah.
Okay. And
So that's
that's where
something to
this being
consider.
stiff might help or hurt us a little bit in bends,
Yeah,
but it gives us that extra to get on out where we need to be.
exactly.
Okay. Okay.
One cool thing is that I'm seeing two cameras here. This is going to be on your head at your drum or your Y fitting that this is connecting on to the system. So it has that camera aspect there, and then also at the control center.
That would be good because if this had to sit in a different room, maybe because we're in a commercial room,
Yep,
the guy at the drum could still see exactly what's going on, even if this was however many feet away.
exactly.
That is nice. I like that a lot. Mounted right on there. That is pretty cool. Okay. Very interesting. The same way, I guess these are lights for looking forward for our camera. We got our camera right there in the front. Nice. I like it.
Yep. The unit comes with larger skids as well. Um, when you're doing those larger pipes, I'm sure that they're like different setups, you know, so there's different things that you can purchase. It looks like this unit is like base model 3-inch to 8-inch probably. And then we're going to a la carte to get yourself to that like 8-inch to 12-inch end diameter curing method. So different skids to be able to put on the inside of there to get it up inside of the center of the pipe to make sure that you're curing perfectly around that diameter.
Okay, so that way in a big pipe, our light head's not laying all the way on the bottom. We get
Exactly.
penetration at the top because we're just picking it up. Okay,
Exactly.
that makes sense.
Yep,
I
for
like
sure.
this Gulf green a lot.
That is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, as we were sitting there talking, that definitely stands out as one of the nicer features of this model.
For sure.
Again, guys, this is an older generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've came out with a newer generation since then. But yeah,
And then one thing I guess we need to talk about too, when I see UV systems, I always feel like they need to go through a chiller and obviously a dryer because we
Yep.
want dry air.
yep,
And we want a chiller. Are all three of these the same way? They all need a chiller?
yes, exactly. Yeah, all of them are going to have an air dryer and a chiller, and then a larger CFM air compressor. You can see that the light head on this thing, there's a lot of LED lights. You can imagine even that flashlight that you guys keep in your pocket, it gets hot, right? So magnetize that times, you know, however many thousands of lights that are in there. Not thousands of lights, but thousands of lumens, if you will. You can imagine how hot this bad dude's going to get. So air is going to come directly to the head to cure it
Okay.
and keep it cool while you're inside of that line. Small diameter, even if it is a 12-inch, there's not a lot of air volume inside of there, right?
Okay.
Or even moving around. So that air needs to travel over top of the lights to cool them down.
So the whole time that we're going to be curing, we're going to be pushing light to the end and bringing it, and then the air,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, air
Yeah.
to the end,
Yep.
the air comes back. And that is just to keep the light head cool.
Absolutely.
Not for curing the liner.
Yes,
Just,
it's going to keep air inside of your liner and keep it aired up, right?
okay.
You know, 8, 10 psi, whatever it is that you're cooking at. And then it's going to keep that airflow over top of the light to keep it cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would, because I noticed on this one, and I believe on the hammerhead one, we have an air muffler right at the head.
Yeah.
So that's going to be where this air is going to exhaust out because we're putting air in, get it back out to keep the head cool. So I like that too because that'll be. I'm assuming we're probably moving a lot of air. That'd be nice.
For sure.
It's not so deafening.
Yeah.
So that's really good. I like that.
Yeah, we're going to look into the exact specs too of what each one of these units takes as far as that CFM and what kind of air compressor you guys would need for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it. That's a nice looking setup.
Absolutely.
It's made really, really heavy.
It is. It is.
These cast angles down here to tie it all together. I like how it's made.
Absolutely. And it comes with a really nice case when you purchase this unit too. It has like almost like a like a band road case, you know what I mean? So it's pretty big, yeah. Move along and talk about the brow Magnavity.
Okay.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of questions out of this unit for sure. Very small unit, you can definitely see. Yeah.
It's amazing. And what, how far out? Does it limit it or still get out pretty far?
No, it gets out 196 feet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yep. Same capabilities. What we wanted to do is use examples of these units to make it the same capability of each, which is that 3-inch, 4-inch, 6-inch, and then also 8-inch.
Okay, so even though this is this small, it could still cure 80.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If I had a random commercial job or something, I could still do it with this.
You can. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it's that small. That's awesome.
So the capabilities are very similar to the Speedylight as well. As far as the smaller diameter, you're going to be able to cure a 3-inch 45,
Okay.
4-inch 90s multiple, 6-inch 90s, same thing, and then 8-inch as well.
Okay. Now, a couple of things I heard about this one that are different than, I believe, this one. This has a function in order to pull itself out. So
Yeah.
we don't have to push it in as much. Is that what that is?
That's correct. What is really unique about the Magnavity is that it pulls itself out with your cow tube.
Oh, okay.
So it actually has a magnet. That's why they named it the Magnavity. But it has a magnet that actually attaches to the camera and the light lens,
Okay.
and it pulls itself out with your cow tube.
Oh, that'd be nice. I would assume that would probably help it navigate some bends.
Yeah,
Having
for sure.
to shove stuff out to either get broken pipe or stuff. I know how hard it is to get through bends, so that probably helps with that. And
Yep.
then I believe one thing I have noticed is they all are similar, where they all have touchscreen screens through all this.
Yep.
I noticed on this one, it looks like it has an option for a separate camera.
It does.
Maybe 2 cameras?
Yeah, there's 2 cameras in this unit. Not 2 screens, but 2 cameras. Gonna come in here, we'll take a look. So right now we're looking forward. So we're looking down the garage, and then we can look backwards, and look back towards the head.
So that, and we can have that camera on while we're curing, just like we can on these, but this one has a backwards one. That can be
Correct.
on while we're curing. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Seems like that would have some advantages.
For sure, yeah. So what that's going to do is give you the option that if you see a tie-on coming with the UV resin, we know that it's not going to cure unless the light hits it, right? So if you know that you have a tie-on coming up and you're seeing behind you, you can slow that unit down. It actually has a turtle feature here
Okay.
as well. So you can slow the camera down quite a bit. I'm sorry, the light head down quite a bit so that it's, illuminating behind those tie-ons to make sure that if there is any resin slug behind it, that it's going to cure that.
Because we've all fought resin slugs.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So that would be nice.
Yep,
Okay.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I like how small it is. It's very easy to
Yeah.
get in and out, but I was really amazed at how far the reach was. I didn't think it would go out that far, but that's great.
Yeah, when I first saw this unit, I didn't realize there was that much cable, obviously it being so compact. But I was very surprised that it had that much cable that could actually go out 197 feet.
Okay.
It's definitely not a push rod either. The cable is rubberized so that it's not going to push out. It actually has to be pulled out with that magnet on the end of your cow tube. And you can do it also with a liner end cap as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that is one difference. This is more like the cable we'd see on some of our robotic cutters.
Yep.
Almost.
Yep.
It really resembles that a lot.
Yep. Even thinner, really. Yeah. Much smaller. Definitely. I was concerned of it going around 90s for sure. But we have tested it out in the field and it does make it around the 4-inch 90s with pulling itself out. And I was also concerned with the cow tube pulling out the light as well.
Okay.
You can imagine maybe there might be some weight or resistance behind that. But it does it amazingly, really. It's, 10 PSI, it's going to roll right around some 90s,
Okay.
and do a really good job.
And as we're looking at this one, we didn't have it for this one, but I see this Y.
Yep.
All of these have the same, I assume, same setup to where on our drum, we're going to shoot through the Y first to get out. And then all of our light trains are introduced from the side. Was that the same through all of these?
Exactly. Yeah. With the Speedylight, the hammerhead, and then also the Magnavity, you got to get that light in there. So one of these Ys is essential to be able to feed the light inside of it.
Okay.
With the Magnavity, when you're inverting the liner, and once your cow tube is at the very end before it goes all the way in, so before the tail goes into the actual liner, you're going to pull the head off and attach the magnet onto it,
Okay.
turn it on, and that's what's going to pull that light head out to the very end.
Okay, must be a strong magnet.
Must be a really strong magnet. I don't know exactly what the specs on it is, but it's definitely very strong. Yeah,
pull something out.
for sure.
You're pushing or pulling, you still got to get it through all those bends.
Yep.
So it probably takes a lot. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like how small it is.
Yeah, it's really nice seeing it.
Okay.
And then with the Speedylight, what it is the same thing with the hammerhead. Once you've inverted your cowl tube, what you're doing is then you're actually feeding that cable through, and you'll see your liner as you're pushing it out. Make sure that there's no, fins or anything like that, or if you got any water infiltration that may have pushed against a tie-on or something like that, or if somebody, the water's supposed to be off but it's not, type of thing.
Yeah, somebody forgot upstairs.
Yeah, exactly. We've never had that happen. So yeah.
Okay. Now this one thing about this one does not have an exhaust for air out here. I guess we would do it. This one would be set up through the drum to exhaust the air.
It is, yeah. So what happens is the Y goes on the front of your drum. Okay. And then the garage, if you will, of the Magnavity ties onto the very side of it. And then through the drum is where you're going to have that exhaust. So you're going to have air to the drum, and then you're going to have your exhaust on the drum itself. Yeah. So it's just set up just a little bit differently. And you can see that the differences in the two units. This one's much more compact. This is just the retractable unit itself. There is no camera on the retractor. Your camera is going to be only on your base.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no screen.
Yep.
Well, that'd make a difference. This is handy, which I get. This would probably, because of its footprint though, we could probably get it a little closer to the hole normally.
Yeah.
If that thing's as small as a drum or smaller.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, super small drum. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah, you can see how this would fit into super tight spots. Yeah. We'll set it up in the shop here and kind of give an example of
yeah. Get them all in the bathroom.
That'd be awesome.
We can find something.
Yep, for sure.
This is the one that everybody talks about is Bluelight. That's the one that everybody knows of. So tell me a little bit about this one. Same. Just to back up on these, same setup. We're gonna have a wide introduce it.
Yep.
We need to run a chiller on it, or yes, a chiller.
Yep.
To make sure we got good, clean, cool air.
That's right.
Same setup though on this one. Does this one pull itself out, or can it pull itself out, or is it?
Yeah. So I haven't heard. I'm sorry, I haven't tried it myself, but they say that there's a wire that goes around the end, or a rope that goes around the end of the head that helps pull it out, and then once it's out there, it burns itself off, and then they pull it back. Okay. I've never done that myself, but I have heard guys doing that.
It gives you the same as this, the same ability to go out, which would help us probably navigate bends better heading out.
Exactly. Yeah, I have had a few guys complain about the pushing factor of going around a couple 45s. Okay. Not every sewer is the same, obviously. Yeah. And however the guy laying the pipe, 50, 60 years ago decided to lay it, if he had a bunch of 45s that he wanted to get away with, get rid of, you know what I mean? But
or if a sewer's bad and the joints have started moving some, you know, maybe we could get inverted through it, but we could still got to be able to get that light train through it as well.
For sure. Absolutely. And again, awesome piece of machinery. Has the PEX cable as well, just like the Speedylight, and you do have to push it in most of the time. Again, never tried that burning mechanism or how that is. I'd like to find out a little bit more information about that.
Well, we got it. We can give it a try.
Maybe, yeah, for sure. Yep. One thing that I did notice when we were hooking this unit up is the cables that we have to get together. They did make them all color coded, which is good. And then also you can't really put one in the wrong slot, if you will. Yeah. But I did notice how many cables there are.
There's this square kind of clip style. Here's a twist style.
Yeah.
And then here's a black twist. So they do make it where you can't probably put the wrong one in the wrong place.
For sure. And they are arrow pointed too, which is really nice. And then they come with a cap that covers them up. But yeah.
So now this unit though, when we have this unit, we also have to bring this, I'm assuming is more of the electronics to run it itself.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yep. Okay. Absolutely. That's the brains behind the unit. And everything that's powering the screen is what it is.
Okay, and then not to back up too far, but on this one, everything is kind of included in this one. This is just the display of the lights and stuff.
Right.
On this.
Yep.
So,
yep. This is just a case for the
something to see. So on this one though, it's all pretty well all together in one.
Yeah, for sure. On the Speedylight, it looks like they got a nice case that sits on top, and then that's actually a little bit of a workbench, if you will, so that you don't have to put this down on the ground to be able to put your head on and do what you need to do, and then start your inversion process and your cook.
Okay, and then this one's pretty much all in one as well. This is all of it, I'm
Yep.
assuming?
That's it.
So
That's everything. Yeah.
here we just have an extra case that we have to carry with us. It just has our stuff in it.
For sure.
Hey, but this looks really, I like the tires and just how, I like these handles, how this thing is to wheel around.
Yep.
It's kind of just more like there. So,
Yeah, and you can
same setup here, I see it has the dual wheels for pullback, just like all of them do, because it
Yep.
was grabbing something. We got the Y that we need to hook onto. And then it looks like, I assume with this small here, we can take that screen off and mount it on here too, if we end up getting separated from this.
exactly, and that's why it comes with a larger cable as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then, right now, the way it sets up, same way, the 3 to 8-ish.
Yeah, the way that this system is, I think it's a 336 drum with like 136 feet of cable, right?
Okay.
So this one here will actually do a 3-inch 45, 4-inch multiple 90s, and then also up to 8-inch pipe.
Okay, but that's great, so that's
They
good.
make it foolproof for sure
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah. This just has one camera facing,
Forward.
okay.
Yep,
So
just
the
one
rear
camera.
That's the only one with a rear camera.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep. And back to the Magnavity as well, as you mentioned that there are larger heads for it as well. This one does up to an 8-inch pipe in diameter, and then you can rent a head that goes to 15.
Oh,
I'm sorry, 12-inch in diameter,
okay.
and it is it is able to be rented as well.
Okay.
As lining guy, the first question you would ask yourself, if I'm looking at all these systems, because everybody's got a UV system nowadays.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming out with a new UV system nowadays. What would the question be that you would ask yourself is like, what am I going to be doing and what am I going to be using this thing for on a daily basis?
Okay.
What am I going to maximize my productivity with? And then also maximize our pocket and grow our business.
I think if you're trying to sell this to somebody though, it's pretty easy to pull these two away from that one because of the size and getting in and out. So I guess we need to focus on what's going to make us, why would we want to steer somebody to buy this over this? And what are those reasons? Is it the rear view camera and the turtle mode for queuing through tie-ins or what?
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I can ask you again. I'm just getting started to see if that's how we're going to steer this, but
no, it's actually a really good question. No, boy. So the very first thing you'd ask yourself is like, okay, 3-inch, 4-inch, 6-inch is my sweet spot as a company. And we make a lot of money doing maybe steam cure or water cure or ambient or a pull in place guy, that kind of thing. So you're switching gears and you're going to say, okay, well, if you were a pull in place guy, I'm going to do some inversion. And I want it to be very easy, very simple, and then also repeatable and trainable for my guys.
okay.
Right. My first thought was always Bluelight, to be honest with you. I thought that was the greatest system out there. A little bit of drawback, in my opinion, is like the push cable and the cable going around 90s. I have had some folks complain about what the retermination cost is and the repair cost on getting that cable back on and putting the camera back in place when you came up with a kink. And again, it is a PEX.
From us pushing it, couldn't get through a bend and somewhere down in the pipe. Okay.
Absolutely. You grew up just like I did in the epoxy world, where when you start mixing epoxy, you start getting really nervous, and sometimes you can't lose that.
It's been a hard hurdle to get for sure.
For sure.
It's really hard to wet out a liner and not be in a big hurry.
Exactly. And what I mean by that is if your cable is not making it in and you kind of panic and you start freaking out.
Wow.
And you can't get through the 90 and you make a mistake and you do something silly, and it might even actually happen right at the very head of the unit when you're pushing it in and you kink the cable.
It's a hard habit to break.
It's a hard habit to break. You're going to
Take
panic.
The panic moment out of it is very hard. It's easy
Yep.
to say and hard to do.
Yep. So with that said, the Brow Magnavity pulls itself out, right? So if your liner is going to go, your cow tube and your light is going to go.
Okay.
Even if it is a liner end cap, you're still going to be able to do that. Obviously, it's going to go through there even easier. And then it's pulling it out there with the liner as well. So your liner's going to go, your cow tube's going to go, your light's going to go.
Okay.
And it's going to pull itself around those curves and bends and twists. The 90s are no problem. We'll show you an example of that. So yeah.
And then that magnet setup, though, it's not something that we got to worry about going down the pipe. The magnet is in the head. What's tied
Correct.
to our cow tube is just a metal cap. I guess it sticks to, I think I saw.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, yep. And then when you get to the very end, you're going to be able to actually check and see, because the color difference will change. You'll see your liner and you'll see your cowl tube, and might see clay pipe, might see cast iron pipe. You'll see the color difference.
Okay.
And you'll see your camera forward, and then you can check your camera backwards that you know that your cowl tube is out all the way past your liner. If you've done a mismeasurement, if you still see liner, you're going to want to pull back the cowl tube and get yourself a longer cowl tube and remeasure. So that is kind of the ease of use there.
That's funny you say that too, because that's one thing, being an epoxy guy, where
Yep.
we've used cowl tubes that are maybe orange and you can't see through them.
Yeah.
It's really different being around clear cowl tube.
Yeah.
Because you can actually see through this light and this light, and I'm sure that one too. You can physically see when you're actually stretched out past the liner, and I'm not used to being able to do that. You know you're out all the way because it physically changes color because it's clear.
Yep.
And that's just something that's a whole new world of the UV as well for me. Because like I said, at hot water guys, I'm used to orange cowl tube, and it is
Yep.
what it is. So that's really interesting. I'm learning these all three of them.
That is really cool, being able to make sure that your cowl tube is past your liner, and you're actually seeing what the very end of it is going to look like, and the shape of the pipe. Obviously, you're going to have some wrinkles inside of your cowl tube as you're pulling back, you know what I mean? But you're seeing that the full diameter of the pipe is open. If you did have any water filtration pushing against a tie-on or something like that, maybe you can try to stop the cure and then get that water off the backside, that kind of stuff. But to answer your question directly is like, what are the major differences between these two? Is obviously its size, and then also whether or not your unit's pulling itself out, around multiple 90s through a clean out if you're going to do a remote start, ease of use. And then also, repairs on reterms. We haven't had any issues out of the Magnavity. I believe there's quite a few units here in the United States, and also over in Germany as well. And we haven't had to reterm any of these units here in the United States. So that is something to be noted. Quite a few of them been out here for quite a few years.
Okay.
Been used over in Germany for a long time as well. And no reterminations here in the U.S. at this point. That's the reports that I'm getting, if you will, so.
Right. Standing here on the backside, the one thing I do notice is the Speedylight only has basically the power cord and one cord coming off of it that goes to the driver unit.
Right.
The same with this one. This one just has a power cord and then a cord that comes off of it that goes to the power unit. There's a lot more cords on this one. I do notice that.
Yeah, for sure.
For this one.
Yeah.
I guess one question though that I guess is of major importance, I guess a lot of people ask, if I buy this, if I buy this, if I buy this, what am I going to do about material? Are any of these specific only to the manufacturer that makes it, that I have to buy everything from them? Or can I outsource different material I find? Maybe I find something I like better. Can I use the material that I've either used and liked, or stuff that I find that I like with any of them? Does that matter?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. And when you ask the manufacturer, they're going to tell you for sure that you need to use their liner with their material, their resin. We have found that other resins do cure with these units, UV resins, and then also liners as well.
Okay.
So you definitely want to go by the manufacturer's recommendations, is typically what people say. But there are ways to cure UV resins and different resins with
Either thing. Okay.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I guess to back up one other part of this too, if I am a residential installer, I'm a plumber and I want to get into this, all of these, there's no issues with that shoot from the house 3 to 4 to 6 transitional shot. We're gonna come in the basement and shoot all the way to the main. With UV light, that's never an issue with any of these, right? So as long as the head will fit through on a transitional change. So if we started out in 3, switched to 4, and then went outside into 6 and had some bends, that's not an issue with any of these, right? They all are able to do that.
We'll take a look at the Bluelight head, the camera head, and also the lights as well. Same thing with the Magnavity and also the Speedylight. At first glance, the first thing that I would say is the Speedylight has a very large knuckle where the cable actually attaches to the light head.
Okay.
My opinion is that it's not going to make it through a 3-inch 45 easily.
Okay.
So that would worry me just a little bit. 4-inch 45 for sure.
Okay.
I even get a little bit nervous around a 4-inch 90 because of the thickness of the cable.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
With the Bluelight, the cable is smaller and the head is smaller as well, and it looks like it's going to travel around a 3-inch 45 at no problem. Yep. The same thing with the Magnavity. It's going to pull itself right around those pieces.
Yeah, it
No
definitely is
problem.
the biggest cable in diameter.
Yeah, for sure.
It appears to be more flexible.
Yep,
Honestly.
absolutely.
It does. Well, we've been talking about these machines quite a bit.
Yeah.
Let's get into these heads and see what the difference is and what we can see is different.
Yeah, for sure.
About them, for sure. Like I said,
Absolutely.
again, we have the Speedylight, the Magnavity, and the Bluelight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, tell us what we can.
So first glance, you're going to notice that every one of them have LED heads on the very end. Again, they're all going to have a camera on the very end of them as well.
Okay.
The Magnavity set up just a little bit different where the camera's actually on the cable. It has a reverse and a forward camera.
Okay.
Whereas on the Bluelight and the Speedylight, the camera's actually on the very end.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right at the end.
Very end. Yep. And it's attached directly to the PEX with the Bluelight. With Magnavity, camera's on the cable. That's a forward camera and a reverse camera.
Okay. Oh, okay. This is what we talked about earlier. So we could see behind us before we got to something that we wanted to check. That's
Yeah.
here. Okay.
Absolutely. And then the Speedylight. So the Speedylight has a camera on the very end.
Same way.
LED head going, LED light facing forward as well to make sure that you can see going forward.
They're all remarkably exactly the same but different.
Yeah.
I did notice too, though, that this one has like a bunch of screws around it, where this one's more kind of streamlined and built into the hose, maybe.
Yeah. And again, like you said, we're kind of new to the UV world as well. We're navigating this and finding things out. And what I didn't realize, Derek, is that the Bluelight is attached to the cable, so you can't take this head off in the field. So you'd actually have to change out the entire cable in order to, like, say, if you had an issue with the light and you're in mid cure,
Okay.
you'd have to change out the entire head in order to cure the rest of your liner.
Okay. So the cable and everything, the
Yep.
whole,
Yep.
the whole everything.
The blue reel.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's different here.
That's correct. Yeah. So these guys, you obviously would have to have an extra head, or you can call us and we can rent your head with the Magnavity. Speedylight does the same thing through a different number of dealerships and stuff,
Okay.
but you would be able to change out the head in the field with a couple screws and then cure the rest of your liner.
Okay, which is something that it's only that big, I assume.
Yeah.
They could throw it in a box and FedEx it to you if you had to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you want to keep maybe a little bit of pressure on your liner if you have a regulator or something like that.
Yeah.
Make sure no water gets behind it.
Okay.
But yeah, you would be able to do what you need to do in order to finish the job at the very least.
What's this here? What's this?
So that's a magnet. Yeah, we'll show you that real
Oh,
quick
that's
for the
the magnet.
Magnavity. Yeah, real quick.
See, now that does look like a magnet out on the end.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it on.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, that's it?
That's it.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. So that's how you pull it out. That's what this would be hooked to our cow tube?
Yeah. So what happens is a rope goes around this and goes to your cow tube.
Okay.
And then this is going to pull out with your cow tube as you're inverting.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's where we get that, where we can navigate bends better.
For sure.
Okay.
Yep. If the cow tube will go, I'm sorry, with the liner will go, cow tube will go, your light's going to go.
Okay. And then that just releases.
For
when
sure.
You come back.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So now that we've looked at everything, what do you think?
You know, I think it comes down to diameter for sure, but I would go with the brow Magnavity. And the reason why is like I look at it like a Swiss Army knife of 3-inch, 4-inch, 6-inch, and 8-inch in diameter. Your head is removable. You have a forward-facing camera. You have a rear-facing camera. Ease of use, it actually pulls itself out with your cow tube.
Okay.
So you know that you're going to be getting your cow tube past your liner, number one. Two, you know that you're all the way out and you don't have any issues of pushing a PEX cable into a piece of machinery. And then also going around those bends and twists, if you are going to get into super technical shots, you know that you're not going to kink your cable.
Okay.
So that's a huge, huge benefit of the brow Magnavity.
Things I see just from my side is the footprint alone is amazing, how small it is. I mean, it's,
Yep.
and that's all there is. I like the fact that it's a plug-in and a cable that goes to the power head, and that's it.
Yep.
I like that a lot. And I do like the fact that if I ever got into something, 2 pins and this comes off and it's even lighter. I mean, you could put that in the back seat of a truck if you had to,
Yeah.
if something happened.
Yeah, you really could.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And how easy it is to get around. I definitely like both cameras. I
Yeah.
like being able to see what I've cured. I know we can see it going out,
Mhm.
but between, as we all know, by the time we get out, who's to say somebody didn't flush an upstairs toilet because they forgot we were working, and now we got a sag in the liner.
Yep.
Something changed. We have water on the backside that we're trying to race against. I can see that in real time before that light gets there because, you know, as with all these, once the light's there, it's over.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, when the light hits it, it's done. And being able to physically see it before, just, I mean, in a couple feet a minute of curing, seconds before we're actually there, we know what we got.
Yeah, for sure.
And also what you were saying too about as we come up on tie-ins, if we knew we had a tie-in that's a little funky or a little weird, we can go to that one button turtle mode
Yep.
and cure that resin slug so that we're not fighting it when we do our termination cutout or our reinstatement cut. I like that a lot because
Yeah.
it would be easy to it'd be easy to mark a hose is where that tie-in is and do it somehow manually. But with being able to see it in real time is just, it eliminates a whole nother step. It's really, this is a nice machine.
For sure.
I like it.
You know, I like that you pointed out the small footprint of the unit. I've been in so many small basements and had to carry these machines down heavy steps and or long set of steps with heavy pieces of equipment. Like I said, you can take the box completely off, and then you're ready to go down some set of steps, no problem.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
and then the turtle mode is a huge benefit to it as well. Again, if the light doesn't hit it, it doesn't cure. And I hate cutting with a bunch of nasty resin behind it. Get your cutter, and then you got another job after your job. You know, so definitely a game changer there. I really like, and I want to point that out, is that you can take the head off the end of the Magnavity and have it switched out. Very, very easy. You don't have to
In
take
the field.
in the field.
In the
100%. Yeah. I mean, if something's happening, something's issue. Again, these things are super smart. All of them are, but the Magnavity is super smart as well. It's going to tell you beforehand. It's got a test beforehand. But if something did happen, it's about, you know, not if, it's when. And if you're in the middle of a cook and you had it go down, you could definitely switch that head out, reinvert a new cal tube,
Right back.
cure the liner, and you're back in business.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
No, that's really, really nice. It really is. This is a terrific unit. And one thing I noticed too, which is, for me and you especially, which is a game changer in the UV world. And we were probably a little behind because we were water guys
Yeah.
until not very long ago.
Yeah.
And put in thousands and thousands of feet of water, guys. The fact that you could wet out in your shop in the morning, the liner.
Yep.
When I picture this, this would this and an air compressor and a drum could physically fit into a little bitty van.
Yeah.
And until not too long ago, we drove around 18-foot trailers everywhere
Yep.
and trucks and water and boilers and fought with diesel fuel.
For
And
sure.
I think about how small this is, and I need an extension cord.
Yep.
And the fact that I could put this in a small van is just
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, it really is.
For sure. Definitely would fit in the back of a decent sized Sprinter, and with an air compressor and an air dryer, and you know, you're ready to go. You're in business. And
It's pretty amazing.
being able to have that anxiety off of you, completely off of you when you're wetting out your liner,
Oh,
is unbelievable. I don't know how many times we've been shooting a liner with UV now lately, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, we got to get this thing in. And then I realize that we're good. Let's just think about what we're doing, take a step back. You know, what's going on? Is there an issue? Is there a problem? Is the cow tube stuck in some way? Or is the liner stuck in some way? Is there something happening? Let's think about what we're doing. And then you're making good decisions again,
yeah.
you know? So,
Yep. And as we learned too, to go dive in even more, and you and I just learned this, helping with the training.
yeah.
And one of the guys we were training blew the remote start wrong.
Yep.
We fought the liner, couldn't get it in, couldn't figure out why. Literally, we stopped, took a break, thought about it, pulled the liner out of the drum, found out it was glued wrong. No big deal. Cut
Yeah.
the cow tube off, put a new starter on it, shot the same liner in 5 hours after we,
It was about 5 hours ago. Yep.
and literally saved the liner.
Yeah.
And then just pulled the cow tube pulled this in, cured it, and walked away. And we still out there the normal
Yeah.
day.
So-
Just amazing.
What's really awesome about that is that, like, not only using the liner, but also the material savings for that day, and then also the job savings for that
Yeah.
day, right? We always look at it like efficiency and the jobs and the costing and the man hours that are on a job. You know, I don't know how many trash cans, pictures that I got on my truck or on my phone full of liner. I call them, you know, trash can liner cans,
No, for sure.
epoxy that just went bad because we couldn't get it in, and I wasn't going to take a chance on trying to invert a liner and it not make it all the way through, and then we're digging up somebody's living room, right?
Well,
Yeah, it's just amazing.
We saved a piece of liner, we saved
Yep.
all the resin, and the more importantly, which unfortunately is probably even more important because everybody's schedule builds out and we're all busy for weeks to come, we still left out of there at 3 o'clock with the job done.
Absolutely.
And literally could have left at noon.
Yep.
But we still got the job done in a normal day. We wasted no material other than a little bit of cow tube.
That's right.
That was it. And that was all because of UV. And it was great. And just so happens that was a very tight basement that this one would only
Yeah.
fit in.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was much. It was it's one of those basements where the steps come down and then turns a corner.
Yeah,
It was very easy to be able to get the Magnavity right in place, and
it was great.
it was good.